Hello and welcome, Lynx here, and today we are going to play a game from ATP Project. Some of you might not be familiar, but ATP Project is an indie developer who basically have been making some games for quite a while. And you could basically say that I keep playing the games from that little group since the beginning of the channel, so in a way it's always nice to jump into those little games. And today it is Red Arrow, the newest release. Like when I'm playing this, it's been only 6 days since it's been released, so that's not that long ago. What it is about: a Sky recovering from a season-ending injury is visited by her technician to discuss his future. Nice. Not the first, like, sporty game as well. Left king at full speed, now coming down to Scarpadone, and Gordana Ivanic is already 1.6 seconds ahead. Just on rails through this section of the single superfluous move of her muscles. And now the last section, the last race of the season, the last runner. This will surely go down in history, an unbelievable performance from a long crown champion. A year of perfection, a year of never before seen dominance, a year of her who they call. Who they call? It had been a difficult journey for me. Not just getting down here to Italy, but to even get any time with her. I'll talk to her so much sooner to explain, to make my case, but she was quite clearly still recovering. And as the helicopter takes off, we hope for the best.
She'll be alright, I'm sure. Looks like no head injury, which is the most important. But that crash, the way her knee twisted. Oh, I've seen cars and by accidents that looked far less bad than this.
I remember that day, that scream of agony that could be heard across the whole section of the slope. It was early February and was the instant end of her season. And now, 5 months later, I still couldn't believe what I was going to do. I joined Gordana Ivanic's team as the lead technician just 2 months before her accident. Her long-term technician got a very lucrative offer to work as the technical advisor to Nuclear, the gear company. That's not a good name for a company. And that allowed me to advance in my position, preparing her skis for each run, getting to understand how she liked to ski, and being able to make suggestions myself. She has already had 2 DNFs that season. Oh. As well as a relatively harmless but intense looking crash. And I've always, as I was watching her attack the slalom courses, there was something I couldn't yet quite grasp. A feeling. The way she moved, the way she was gliding, something just wasn't right. For many, including her coach, it was a certain lack of sharpness, controlled aggression. And the lead technician would always try to encourage her to go attack more. To lean into the turns more, setting up her skis to be at their best when they are used with more force. And every now and then, in certain segments of tracks, she did just that. Suddenly her split times got much better, she got up to even the top 5. But inevitably, in other segments of the track, the same track, the determination would evaporate. And she would be back to gliding. And her results, they were quite far from being close to repeating that one achievement, that one win she had 3 years ago. As I was driving through the maze of Tuscany's roads, I was trying to make last-minute changes on to how I wanted to approach meeting her. We didn't leave on the best of terms. And I suppose I'd understand if deep inside Gordana would be blaming me for everything that happened after I became her technician. My report card has been 2 months and 7 slaloms, one of which was in the night. Of those, she never finished better than 9th. No DNFs, but overall less points on average. And EFS Global Championship, Zhao Chinese AT event, SL7A. Siebenberger Alexandra first. Then we have 8th, Engelmann Andrea, 9th, Maijala Evie. I'm guessing it's 8th, 9th, not like the number of the person, right? 10th, Ivanich Gordana. 11th, Renner Katarina. 12th, Von Pueschli Veronique. Okay. And that will be 10th place for Ivanich, with 7 runners still to go. The Croatian fans deflated.
Visibly so. I think we're still holding on to the promise of this once great talent. And it's so disheartening to see she's nowhere and going backwards, it seems.
Such is our sport. At the end of a narrow road and a few houses, I saw a vineyard to the right of me. I mean, I'm sure she will still have a... She would have still, you know, with her results, life where she doesn't need to worry about anything. Well, except the injury and so on, but yeah. This would have to be the place. I parked near the vineyard and got out of the car. The air was heavy. Very heavy. I looked at my phone for any messages from her. She told me she would meet me at the parking lot near the vineyard. And this was the only place one could park the car, so... I guess... I would just wait? I quickly texted her that I was here and would be waiting for her. I didn't mind waiting a little. Because I still didn't know what to say. After everything that happened. And for the prognosis is that Gordana event should be fit for the beginning of the next season? We already know she has parted ways with her coach, and a few other key staff have also left her team.
Except the lead technician, who in fact may have been the single biggest cause of her decline.
I guess, well, I don't want to get into this too deep, but indeed you are not the only former skier who has this opinion.
Which is not to say he's bad, but sometimes you just don't gel with someone, so, you know.
You don't gel? I think that's a good way to put it. Let's see how it all turns out. There is no Croatian skier active at the moment, so we all have our fingers crossed that it works out somehow. Not a single one? Really? It was just seeing Gordana again after all this time. Sorry, it wasn't. It was why I came. Because if I did come here to talk about my future in her team, I also had this almost outrageous proposal. The suggestion of which may just make her think I'm the most unfitting man for the job of being her technician. But I just...
Hi, Frank,
she said, appearing in front of me. Oh boy. I must have been so in thoughts. I never even saw her coming. Hi, Ivy. Hi. She said again. Apparently it was her. Slightly softer. I was completely taken by what I saw. Was that? You look really great. I said that I wasn't able to hide my surprise. She looked happy? And her movements, was she?
Yeah, I'm doing quite well. No pain whatsoever since a month.
What? Really? I gasped with tears close to flooding my eyes. She nodded, smiling. It's good to see you again. Gordana added, her voice... It's her saying that again. Okay, whatever. Gordana added, her voice calm and kind. This isn't yours, is it? I asked as we walked through the vineyard, which Gordana suggested. What if it is?
Oh, no. Wait! Funny.
She said, realizing I was just making a joke. Huh?
It was raining here the last 2 days.
Gordana said.
I was hoping it would be nice. I mean, yesterday it wasn't raining anymore, so I was optimistic, but...
We continued to talk about the weather. Gordana led the way. Having picked a route she said would show me the surroundings of where she lived now.
So why?
I began not really knowing how to start the conversation I came here for. It was obvious that we would need to get to the real reason for my visit at some point, so... I just started talking without attempting to create any transition. It's been like this with Gordana and me anyway. We would in fact often mix the trivial with the serious. I mean, that's a good thing. And personal with professional. It's one of the things I really liked about working with her. No need to try to time one's words too much. It was relaxing in a way. So I've heard of Anton. Who? I said referring to Anton Unterreger, her coach. It has been made public recently that they have decided to go their separate ways. Anton. I liked him a lot. He was a very methodical person. And it was with him that Gordana has had a rise and her successes up until the accident this year. He was also the one who in many ways got me into her team by vouching for me and giving me the position of the support technician. Okay. Which ultimately led to my promotion to the lead technician for her. In fact, after I've been made the lead, the team did not hire any other support to save costs. And Anton and I, we work well together. But despite that...
Yeah, I just...
Gordana tried to find words. I understand. I said, almost interrupting her.
You do?
Yeah, I think with that offer he got for the next season with very good.
Yeah, but do...
She said, hinting at a relatively complex contractual situation with her coach. He received an offer from the team of the French Grand Slalom specialist Dorienne Bergaud. She has won the Grand Slalom trophy this year, as well as earned 3rd place in Extra G. I don't know what that means. And her team was now pushing to also expand her skills in regular slalom, for which Antreger was hired. He has trained in all 3 disciplines and was in fact the perfect fit for Bergaud in an overall championship push. As well as having trained Alexandra Siebenberger, who finished 2nd overall 5 years ago. The guy is a prodigy in training. The overall Alpine Championship was a combination of points earned throughout the season from the 4 skiing disciplines. Okay. From the 2 speed disciplines, which were downhill and extra G, and the technical ones, which were Grand Slalom and Slalom. Each discipline has a set 10 races in a season. Dang, that's a lot, isn't it? Which is carried out in 15 venues, none of which has all 4 types of races. Oh. Okay, so you don't do like one race 40 times, but you do like on one area you do, for example, 4, but actually sorry, for example 3, and it might be that in one venue you do 1 and somewhere you do 2. I'm guessing it's in one day as well, that you could go do 3 in one day. It is kinda wild, not gonna lie. And also, I kinda like that. Racers are able to sign up for a maximum of 30 races. Huh? and those who compete for the overall championship also do. Huh. So in a way, it might be best to sign up in the last possible moment. Especially if, like, the information who signs up where is revealed early. That way you can basically claim best spots the easiest way, right? Only a few racers do not choose to compete for the overall championship by virtue of signing up to less races. These usually focus on their primary discipline and sign up for the full amount in that area. Makes sense? However, the discipline champion who scores overall highest in given discipline has in the recent past always also been competing for the overall championship. Okay? The trophies awarded are the Alpine Globe for the overall champion and the Snow Globe for individual disciplines. Race winners also get race trophies with varied designs individual to the race venue. Gordana's best season placements over the years was 2nd in the slalom and 10th overall. Wait, not even once first? That's crazy. This year also, because of the injury, she ended up 27th in slalom, 56th in grand slalom, 83rd in extra G, and 67th overall. Oh, so she was not doing one of those? One of the four? I don't know who's asking that. Do you already have someone? I asked, to not let the conversation stall. Anterger was her third coach since competing in the Alpine Championships. Her junior coach was with her in her first competitive year, then she was with Giancarlo Lucci, who did a lot to promote her talent, and most recently, of course, she has worked with Unterreger.
No, I haven't really found anyone,
she said, and I nodded. I was expecting this to be the case, because I know she would let me know otherwise, and one of the reasons I came here... Yes, so, well, I've gotten an offer that I'd like to kind of run by you, as it were, I said, trying to immediately indicate that the offer involves her as well.
Well,
she said with a bit of relief. You'll have to kick me out to make me leave you, you know. I said jokingly to acknowledge the slight discomfort she has expressed. She smiled, almost imperceptibly, moving her lips to inaudibly say thank you. No, it's... okay, Grave and Sport. I was asking around, they have this new... And I started explaining what I came for. Grave and Sport.
And after 10 months of absence, it's incredible to see Gordana Ivanch again in a racing suit.
It speaks to her determination and toughness.
Not just to be racing again, but to be doing it like this. Like this! It's all anyone is and surely will be talking about. What a strange turn of events, I tell you, Franz.
I think that's the co-announcer, but whatever.
What an unexpected twist to her story. Look at the times. Look!
I turned out that Grafensport, which was a minor ski equipment manufacturer, supplying skis for technical disciplines to the midfield racers and often Gordana's immediate competitors, was expanding their offerings and has received substantial investments to do so. And as is common before officially announcing their extended involvement, they already were in tentative negotiations with some of the teams of the racers. And while Gordana had an agent, clearly a useless guy, the first person from her team to know about this and the potential interest in Gordana was me. Because I was often following and attending a lot of the technology events and the equipment unveilings. Well, you are the technician, makes sense. I did not inform her agent about this because it was not an official offer, and they even specifically asked me to convey the offer to Gordana informally. The offer, which was that Grafensport would supply the skis to her for the next 3 years. That's nice. Okay, so they have this new layered metal carbon ski which has an asymmetrical weave. I said I continued with a technical explanation. Gordana was listening, occasionally confirming that she understood. And so I think that it would be perfect for your style in particular because I'd be able to vary the setup in those low grip zones so much more than with anything else. I continued, and after a while finished talking. Whew. Gordana stopped. What? Stopped what? Listening? Or what? Moving? What? She looked at me somewhat puzzled. Because what I just described was... Isn't this more of a... I stayed silent, looking at her with all the confidence in what I was proposing. Yes, it is. A downhill ski.
And she crosses the line over 2 seconds ahead.
This is incredible. There's still some races to go, but what time?
I'm speechless. Honestly, Franz, this is just...
I guess the co-announcer should be a guy, but whatever.
Yeah, no, I would not be surprised if the time holds. Look at the Lindenburg who finished third overall last year. Look!
I see it. Already 0.2 seconds behind the first split. What are we witnessing here, Franz?
And you think?
She said, still somewhat surprised, although I knew her well enough at this point that I did feel at least a bit of curiosity in her eyes. Perhaps it was the injury, and perhaps it was also the frustration of not having the success in her primary discipline, slalom, that she may have felt should have been possible. Gordana was a slalom skier first, but what I was saying was that if she were to take this sponsorship, she would have skis using a technology that would be best for speed events. And to maximize that situation, she would need to completely switch her focus. Her training style, her calendar... I nodded. And perhaps...
I was thinking at times,
she said, changing the topic slightly.
I can imagine.
I can imagine, I said, knowing what she was about to say.
Really?
She said with a lighter tone, knowing I had beaten her to what she was going to say. No one would fault you, but I mean, if you were going to retire, you might as well try something completely different, I said without saying it. Gordana smiled. But it seemed like she wasn't all that surprised. Because, as an athlete, she knew best her strengths and weaknesses, and she was able to recognize that indeed this was technically a path she could take.
Yes, we have a slow motion reply. There it is. Once again, incredible.
This is so much different to her competitors. Look! There is visible less pressure, the amount of snow here and here.
He explained as he paused the replay to draw lines on the monitor.
And if you remember her when she did slalom, it was the natural ability of hers to glide and rotate with less pressure than any of her competitors that perhaps cost her time. But here with the new ski, and that setup, it's what makes her almost fly. With no wasted movements, it's a joy to watch.
Well, sometimes almost unsettling. She always looks as if she's just about to lose control. She looks extremely unstable.
Exactly, and that stability costs energy if we compare it to Marlies Klanmerharter or Wendy Schiffsberg, who look so graceful in many ways, look faster.
Yes, you're right. They do look faster.
Just look, I guess.
Compared to the constant micro movements of Ivanic, but I mean the times.
Indeed, the times. They don't lie.
And if she wins next week at Cortina, she'll become the only competitor to ever win all the 20 speed races in a season.
Doesn't that mean that she's already a champion?
She'd even have to compete in any of the technical races and would still win the overall championship.
Damn!
But she chose to also take on a few of her favorite slalom races, remembering her roots, so to speak, for I can't imagine her even ever truly going back anymore.
It would be foolish. She's running a perfect way for a symbiosis of hardware, skill, and form.
Yes, and haven't we all gotten used to that image by now? Her head waving as if pure fire had been shot from a bow.
The fastest skier the competitors have ever seen, a worthy champion.
And they all are chanting her name, for she's not Gordana Ivanic anymore. She is!
And you can't stay?
Gordana asked. I mean, I have so much to do now. I said with my head full of things I need to do.
Is it that much?
She asked compassionately. It's alright. No one I would do this for more happily. I replied, smiling. And I was just about to open the door for my car when...
Hey! Are you...
She suddenly stopped me by taking my hand. I could never be. I said, meaning every word. You could never be what?
The last section, last race of the season, last runner. This will surely go down in history. An unbelievable performance from the long-crowned champion. A year of perfection, a year of never been before seen dominance, a year of her who they call... the Red Arrow!
As I drove in the night, lights flashing past me, I was still fighting. The images of one of the greatest sports stories ever told. Of perfection, of grace and speed. Images that would live forever. But only in my mind. As dreams, ambitions of what could have been. Of what I had hoped would be. But what was not to be. Huh? Wait, what do you mean? Oi, don't you... A month later, Gordana called me to tell me she would officially announce the end of her career. I told her I was going to visit Udine, which was quite close to where she found her new home. And we agreed to meet 2 weeks later. Wait, you want to that was all his imagination. I can't. I got so hyped for that. You ass. I have always known her to be a happy person. When she was skiing and when she was just being herself. But it felt like, with her retirement, the person I met with was just Gordana. And for some reason, when she kissed me on the cheek to say hello, before even the first word between us was uttered, I felt jealous. I wanted to be like her. To not just be happy, but be happy as effortlessly as she was. To be happy naturally. And so, after a further month, I accepted a new job I was trying to set up for myself in Udine. And within a month I moved to Tuscany for good. Feeling that I wished everyone could be as happy as I finally was.
The end.
A visual novel by Mikey. Character art by L. 80 projects, 25. Thank you for playing. Absolutely. Oh. Wait. Dude. First, you hyped me up with the races, with the absolute domination and so on. And then you dropped... and then you dropped the 3 dots, which was... Oh, maybe there will be some more. Good story, Fo. I liked it. I really did enjoy myself. I mean, dude, especially with the races. I know somehow the voice for the announcer worked out for me at least. Felt good. Great story, great story. I wonder if, I mean, given the fact that our technician moved to basically the area she was in, I assume something might have bloomed between the two. Which would be fantastic. Yeah. And, well, it seems like Gordana didn't have a problem with overcoming the situation. You know, the injury. Then she was like, okay, I'll retire and so on. I feel like for a lot of people in the sports, like, like having to basically get out from the sport because injury is kind of like life ending. Can I say that? I guess I could say that. Like, it feels for them like that, I would assume. Which is quite a problem. As they don't know what to do next and so on, right? she seemed to not have that issue, which is wonderful. Technically, I could be saying something like that as well. I mean, as you may or may not know, I used to train football in a club, in a crappy club, because it's a club that has never been higher than, I believe, 2nd division in Poland, which, let's not forget, even 1st division is amateur level. But yeah, like at the age of, what, 15, 16, I quit it. The club just made me hate football, basically. But was it something I felt like completely ending? Nope. Nope. I mean, dude, doing other stuff. You just have to move to something else. That's about it. That's about it. Do I regret from time... Sorry, do I regret from time to time quitting? Yeah, sure. But I think it doesn't influence like my everyday life, basically. And it's not an everyday feeling and so on. So like, whatever, life goes on, right? Anywho, Red Arrow. I had a great time. Hope you guys did too. If you did, consider liking the video. If you're new around, consider subscribing. We'll continue playing games and... well, tomorrow we'll sit to another one. Which I will quickly have a look if it's lengthy or not. I wonder... oh, it's this... okay, that one will be a one thing sitting. Because it's actually not a visual novel. Right? It will be a one thing sitting, right? Yeah, it seems like it. Like, maybe half an hour as well. If my PC can handle it. But from this dev, actually, it seems like those games are quite alright. And they are quite... quite prepared to run even on some... on some older PC parts. Which might be changing very soon. As first of all, soon the CPU update will be happening. Hopefully it will work fine. Hopefully I will not mess up anything when trying to change CPU, which I've never done before. And second of all, I'm looking at the GPUs as well, so we'll see how it goes. I also still need to test out all the Linuxes on the laptop, and then when Windows 10 comes to an end, maybe on the main PC also switch. Technically a month left, right? A month left. With that being said, let's end the video, and tomorrow another one.
Hope to see you there. Bye bye.